Medical Intuitive Insights with your host, Dr. Gloria Warren, is a program that presents topics on medical intuition, holistic opportunities outside of mainstream society, and scientific research as applied today. Topics range from online intuitive readings to interviews unveiling alternative healing modalities and discussing them with inspirational leaders. Dr. Warren is the bridge within holistic arts while stressing the balance between the spiritual and physical self. So now, please welcome the host of Medical Intuitive Insights, Dr. Gloria Warren.
Could your body already know how to heal? Why are ancient healing systems returning in the world filled with stress, burnout, and chronic imbalances? And could modern stress be helped through Ayurvedic medicine? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Warren, and today we're stepping into one of the oldest holistic healing systems recorded in history, Ayurvedic medicine. For more than 3,000 years, Ayurveda has been practiced throughout India and the surrounding regions as a complete system of health, wellness, prevention, and balance. But what makes Ayurveda so fascinating is this. It did not separate the mind from the body from the emotions, or emotions from spirituality. Instead, Ayurveda viewed the human being as an interconnected energetic system. You know, that somebody named Ladd, a scientist in 2002, he actually did a whole paper on that. By the way, references will be at the end of this show, so please comment too if you want to see more references. Thank you. Today, we're going to explore what Ayurveda actually is. The meaning of the three doshas. This is like a mystery in the Western world. Most people have no idea what it's about, but they want to know. So I've simplified it for everybody. So why digestion is considered central to health, how stress affects energetic balance, Ayurvedic herbs and therapies, a lot there. You have to really stay put because that there comes later and it is magnificent. It's what you can actually do to help yourself. The role of yoga and meditation, and why this ancient system is gaining worldwide attention. Again, this is not about replacing medical care. I'm sure everyone has their own medical practitioner of sorts, and that's fine. They can work with this as well. Matter of fact, Ayurveda, when it's come to this country, there it's being used along with Western medicine. So they can both work. So it's about understanding how ancient systems viewed prevention, lifestyle, energy balance. By the way, you'll hear that quite often, and overall wellness. So the word Ayurveda comes from two Sanskrit words, Ayur meaning life, and Veda meaning knowledge or science. So Ayurveda literally translates to the science of life. Ayurveda originated in ancient India over 3,000 years ago and is considered one of the oldest organized healing systems in the world. And World Health Organization in 2013 actually mentions that, unlike systems that focus only on disease, Ayurveda also emphasizes various preventions, daily balance, lifestyle alignments, and individual wellness. And ancient Ayurvedic practices are believed to be health dependent upon harmony and balance. So let me just give you a simplified definition here. So Ayurveda is an ancient holistic healing system from India. That's where it originated from. It blossomed from India like the lotus flower, and then it spread. It's seeded out throughout the world. So it views health and balance, very important balance in this type of medical practice. Balance between the mind, body, spirit, environment. So the system focuses on prevention, balance, harmony, and wellness. So the practitioners believe, once again, depending on harmony between the body, mind, the senses, smell, hearing, eyesight, just senses of all types, more than just the five senses. The environment, because even you can be healthy as a horse, but maybe in the environment you're in, it's too stressful. So it's going to create other problems. As well as believing that it depended on the harmony of consciousness itself. One of the most important concepts of Ayurveda is disease does not suddenly appear overnight. Instead, imbalance develops gradually through the stresses of life, poor digestion, unhealthy food, emotional overload. Oh, yes, I can attest to that. Sleep disruption can be another cause. Toxins, environmental strain, and lifestyle mismatch. Very interesting. We'll get a little more into that later. So Ayurveda attempts to identify imbalance before serious illness develops. It's according to Sharma and others there in 2007. So one of our other shows was on the gut-brain connection. Absolutely, this is something that they consider one of the most remarkable areas in which modern science is beginning to overlap with ancient Ayurvedic philosophy concerns the gut-brain connection. Ayurveda has long taught that digestion plays a central role in energy, emotional wellness, immunity, and overall vitality. Modern scientific research now explores how the gut microbiome communicates with the brain through the research called the gut-brain axis, I believe it was. And that was coined by Cryan and Deenan in 2012. So just recently, in the vast time and history, just recently, I get that connection here in the Western world. Ayurvedic medicine has known that all along. So it takes the good of Ayurvedic and medicine and combines it with other types of medicine practices. But research suggests that the gastrointestinal system influences mood regulation, inflammatory response, neurotransmitter activity, stress response, and immune signaling. And that was made very clear by Mayer and his colleagues in 2015. By the way, let's talk about that a second. So research suggests gastrointestinal system influences mood regulation. I think people can understand inflammatory response. Let's say you are constipated. Your body will absorb too many toxins. And even in the gastrointestinal system, you could have a leaky gut syndrome, so to speak, or not, but it's possible that that would cause an inflammatory response throughout your whole body, swollen hands, swollen face, swollen feet, different swellings, abdominal extension, it is all connected. And neurotransmitter activity. You have a brain fog sometimes. Maybe that's something to consider. And this is what the practitioner considers. Oh, if somebody comes to them with a brain fog problem, they may consider a gastrointestinal influence causing that brain fog. So they may check for inflammatory responses and mood regulations. If things, let's say a sister says, oh, she's been really crabby lately or something, it all adds up. They actually go through a whole system of diagnostics. So it also influences the immune signaling. Unfortunately, you get too many toxins in your system, especially with constipation or some similar scenarios. It can hinder the immune system. By the way, we have an immunity show. You may want to check into that. Okay. Interestingly enough, approximately 90% of the body's serotonin is produced within the gastrointestinal tract. Serotonin. It's not just a brain situation. So that's 90% is producing the gastrointestinal tract, highlighting the close relationship between digestion and emotional regulation. That was proven in 2015 by Yano and his colleagues. So this growing scientific discussion mirrors some traditional Ayurvedic teachings that viewed digestion imbalance as a contributor to both physical and emotional distress. So overall, if we want to look at imbalance and how it's developed, it can in our busy lives, we have so many stresses. I mean, somebody said something to me yesterday, and they said, I'm under so much stress. I never can fulfill my to-do list on a daily basis. There are just so many things that I need to think of, and how many things I need to do in a day. I never finish that list. And you kind of prioritize, and even the mental anguish of having to prioritize, it gets a little dicey. Let's see, I think the baby comes first, then maybe the dog needs to be fed, and then, and you kind of prioritize, and not everything gets done. So sometimes you just need to let go of some of the things that are not necessities in your life on a daily basis. And this is something Ayurveda looks into. It's not just physical, it's psychological as well. The Ayurvedic physician actually discusses different things with you, mentally, spiritually, as well as physically. But the spiritual aspects and the mental aspects and the environmental situation, you place an organism in this environment versus that environment, and it may not survive in a healthy state in this environment, but in that environment do very well. So sometimes it may be something that would need a life change for you to get healthy. They look at various aspects, though. Like I said, it isn't always the same thing. So stress is just one of those things that can create imbalance, but poor digestion can also create imbalance. If your system is not working correctly or appropriately for the foods you're eating, maybe it's time to change food. Maybe it's time to look at other things that help your digestion. Maybe it just takes a little magnesium. Maybe it takes more water. Maybe it takes more sodium in your water. Maybe there's so many things that they look at. That's why an Ayurvedic physician in India is very, very important. It is not usually something that people can do everything on their own. They're looking at so many different things at once. So next area that actually can cause this imbalance is unhealthy food. And we have another show on manufactured food, and it also correlates to poor digestion. Some people cannot digest that manufactured industrialized food as well as others. However, I believe in my situation as an epidemiologist, my word of wise is that if you are unhealthy, you may need to actually go to all natural foods, but that is between you and your practitioner, okay? Next area that can cause this imbalance is emotional overload. I mean, face it, if you have so many stresses and you're getting over emotional, and maybe you had an incident with somebody in your family or a loved one, or maybe somebody passed on, and you're having a difficult time and you're just getting over emotional and too much emotional chaos around you, too much uproar. And maybe there's somebody who is unhealthy mentally in your household that you need to be with on a daily basis. This can also cause emotional overload. There's so many things that can cause an overload regarding emotions. And remember, your digestive system actually helps to create serotonin in your bloodstream. So emotion does have an impact on your digestion and your serotonin levels. Keep that in mind. Another thing that can actually cause an imbalance in your mental, physical, and spiritual well-being is sleep disruption. The universe makes our bodies able to handle a little bit more stress when we're young, say in our 20s and maybe 30s, because those are the childbearing years. And during the childbearing years, you can have more interrupted sleep than not. But it doesn't mean it won't impact your physical, spiritual, emotional well-being. It's simply that maybe you can make it up in different ways. I mean, there's no such thing as making up sleep. Once you lose sleep, you lose sleep. But maybe you could have time out days, like you sleep all day or you just relax and everything all day every now and then. If not, maybe there's just time zones or time allotments that you can do that with. Another area that can disrupt your physical, mental, and spiritual well-being are toxins. This is all correlated too to poor digestion. Like I said, toxins, if you're constipated, you can absorb more toxins from the older foods in your system that have perhaps spoiled and maybe are creating higher level bacteria. And maybe you have leaky gut syndrome and it's absorbing back into your system. Toxins are really important to keep a lookout. It can be dangerous to your body, and at the same time, it can make you very ill. It hinders your emotion. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break and stay with us. You're not going to want to miss this. We're going to talk more about these stresses and approaches in our stressful lives. We'll be right back.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back to Understanding Ayurveda, Ancient Healing in the Modern World. This is Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Warren. We are now exploring how these ancient approaches to health and balance may still offer valuable insight into modern stress and wellness today. So, what are the 3 doshas? This is the part that people get confused. They don't understand what they are, and they're afraid to really look into it. They think it's very difficult to understand, and it's not. This is going to be simplified for you. So they are one of the most recognized concepts of Ayurveda. The doshas are considered biological energies or constitutional patterns that influence physical traits. Yeah, physical traits, emotional tendencies, digestion, metabolism, behavior, and stress responses. So we're going to look at a few slides now, and we're going to discuss the doshas. So here we have, what is going on here? Let me just check this. Okay. Here we have Vata, the energy of movement. It's made of air and space, controls movement, creativity, and the nervous system. Qualities are creative, energetic, flexible, and quick thinking. So Yeah, I'm having a few difficulties, but that's okay. So Vata is very interesting. Um, every person contains all three doshas, by the way. Usually one or two are dominant. So you may see that you have a lack in one or two or three, but you have all three. So the Vata, if you need more calm and warmth, you need less chaos, and don't be overstimulated in your environment. Remember we mentioned environment. Environment's very important when you deal with Ayurveda. So let's now go to the Pitta. There we go. Pitta, energy of transformation. Okay. It's made of fire and water. You see it within that symbol. If you remember Pitta with the flame, that helps you. It controls digestion, metabolism, and intelligence. So the qualities are focused. If you're focused, you're driven, you're organized, you're determined. You get things done when you want to get things done. This is important though because it controls digestion. So if you're one that is predominantly have a high Pitta attribute and you're not getting things done, it can hinder your digestion and your metabolism, and you may have a case of brain fog as well. Not good. So next slide, please. Next we have the Kapha. It's energy of stability. It's made from the earth and water. Think of grounding area. It provides structure and stability and nourishment in your soul and your sense of self and well-being. The qualities are calm, grounding, loyal, nurturing. I look at a lot of mothers as being high in Kapha attributes because they're very grounding and nurturing. So I like that one, definitely. So that one is basically movement and energy. By the way, I forgot to mention Pitta is cooling and relaxation. And it deals with, if you're lacking it and you have too much heat and intensity, you may have something else you need to deal with. The Kapha movement and energy is heaviness and inactivity. You may actually need to work on the movement and energy. So let's look at the next slide, please. So when out of balance, the Vata imbalance is anxiety, restlessness. Do you ever find, that you have insomnia and things of that nature? And that's why the Vata, if you have insomnia and things, you need less chaos and overstimulation. Too much is happening in your lives. So maybe that's you, maybe that's what you need. You need to work more on getting more warmth and calmness. So things like meditation and just spending time alone or with nature can help deal with that. All right. And then if we look at the Pitta imbalance, irritability, inflammation, like you're swelling up, and anger and overheated, that can be a major problem, but you need more. It's for cooling and relaxation. You need to get away from things of heat and intensity, and you need to be more cooling. And there's also foods in these areas that we're going to get into a little later too, which will be very nice. And then the Kapha movement energy. Let's say you're very lethargic and you have a lot of congestion. You have trouble gaining weight. Why am I gaining weight so much? And then you try to lose, and then you gain it right back. But you have a low motivation level, so you need less heaviness and inactivity in your lives. So you need to work on that and get up and do like what Tony Robbins done. Get up and just stand up and move around, and you'll be. And it's interesting how that movement burst will actually energize you to want to do more. I love it. I love that part. And let's come off the slides for now. And I'm going to continue on here. So When it comes to stress and modern health, for instance, modern stress has become one of the defining health concerns of our time. Chronic stress is associated with elevated cortisol, nervous system dysregulation, inflammation, sleep disruption, cardiovascular strain, immune suppression. We have another show on immunity, so keep that in mind. You may want to look it up. And digestive imbalance, there again. So Ayurveda approached stress differently than many modern systems here in the US. Instead of treating only symptoms, Ayurvedic philosophy seeks to identify the underlying imbalance contribution. So they look at patterns of distress and they come to their conclusions. They bring in the psychological and social aspects within each person's life. It's very individualized. That is what the patient's current circumstances are and what they need to improve. It may not be what the next person needs to do, even with the similar symptoms. So keep that in mind. Modern integrative medicine is increasingly exploring similar approaches involving lifestyle medicine, nutrition, mindfulness, movement, sleep optimization, and stress reduction practices. So in modern medicine, they're doing the same thing, the same type of explorations and research. Lifestyle medicine. They actually would throw Ayurvedic medicine into lifestyle medicine. They may actually throw food and there again nutrition. The mindfulness as well. Mindfulness is a extremely influential aspect of Ayurvedics. So keep that in mind. And okay. So we were going to have a guest today. It doesn't look like she's going to be able to make it, and that's fine. But she was going to talk about this, and we discussed it earlier. So let me just talk about this for a moment. So modern integrative medicine, it is explored much more. There we go. Expansive in this area of the globe as well as in other areas of the globe. Everyone's looking at different things. I'm probably going to do one on rainforest medicine as well. And there's so many different areas in the world. This is what I do for my hobby. I love it. I'm considered an expert in various types of medicine, and it's just wonderful. But Ayurvedic medicine tends to be a good base from all over the globe throughout time. It's wonderful, especially dealing with nutrition and mindfulness and movement. Movement, I think, is everyone thinks of nutrition sometimes and lifestyle. Like there's this big surge now where a lot of young people aren't having alcohol. That's great. It's great. It's a lifestyle medicine scenario. Nutrition, mindfulness, but movement, they think, oh, go work out. But if you work out too much with heavy weights, your cortisol is going to go up. So there is actually a balance that needs to be worked out there. Sleep optimization is one of the areas that's hardest hit, I believe, at this time in the Western world. It's because we don't sleep as much. The people that are driven are taking their time and not actually paying much attention to it. Causes more stress overall. Not good. It worries me, actually. So it's time again for a quick break. Don't go away, though. Herbal remedies, foods, and other Ayurvedic support you can try when we get back.
Master of words, powerful player. What life-changing words can Dr. Janet Smith Warfield pull out of her magical toolbox that just might mysteriously open a door you never knew was there? A door to free yourself from fear forever. Transform your rage into right action. Release your guilt. Position you into a life of freedom, purpose, passion, power, and peace. All quite suddenly, unexpectedly, and almost miraculously, with no effort on your part. Join Dr. Janet on Dancing with Words, Dancing with Wisdom, as she and her guests show you how words map our experiences, immersing you in a sound bath that relaxes your muscles, opens your mind, and supports you in co-creating your extraordinary life. radio show host and coach, John M. Hawkins, reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back to Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Warren. If this information is helping you in any way to support your wellness journey, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support helps us continue sharing educational content designed to inspire balance, awareness, and healthier living. So let's continue on. There's herbs, foods, and Ayurvedic support that I really feel you're going to feel it's exciting. Ayurveda considers food deeply therapeutic. Ancient practitioners believe that food influences digestion, mood, immunity, energy, inflammation, and long-term vitality, just like we said. So Ayurvedic wellness traditions often emphasize whole foods, and that's what I'm going to emphasize here, whole foods, herbal support, warming spices, mindful eating, and digestive balance. So we do have some slides for you, which we did get a glance of, and we will get more of a glance in a second. There we go. I love slides. I just really do. Let's see. Let's move on to that one. There we go. So I'm going to talk to you about lifestyle practices for a moment. We did a show last week on yoga. The basic 5, I think it was, yoga practices worldwide. And these are some things that are done in yoga or yoga itself. There's different types. So here we have yoga movement. And it brings balance to the body and mind. Then there's pranayama. We talked about this last week, and it entails breath work and calms the central nervous system. And then we have some meditation that supports mental clarity, emotional well-being, as well as your daily routine. Remember I said environment? That's part of your daily routine as well. It aligns with natural rhythms for better health. This is really important to consider, because you can't fix something if you're in an environment that doesn't support what you do. So you need to actually get to that point. So let's look at the next slide, please. The powerful Ayurvedic herbs we're going to talk about. And let me come down here and there and there. So herbal medicine, we turmeric. If you can go to the next slide. If not, that's fine. That's fine. We can do it this way. So turmeric contains an active compound, curcumin. And I'm sure everybody has heard of curcumin, especially the last few years. It's been a big topic in society today. And it is very helpful in Ayurvedics because it has an anti-inflammatory property. That's what everybody knows it for. It's been extensively researched as an antioxidant and inflammation modulating substance. So, and those have all been proven through research. Research stuff will be at the end, just like I said before. So scientific studies continue exploring curcumin's role it seems like they keep finding more and more things it's good for. So they've proven, this is what they've proven it's good for: inflammatory pathways. So if certain people, they take ibuprofen, they take acetaminophen, they take different teas or whatnot, but curcumin's role is wonderful for inflammatory pathways. It's great for oxidative stress and metabolic health and neural protection. You have a brain fog. This is my first grab. When I have a brain fog problem, I'm like, gee, must be inflamed. It's hindering the circulation of my brain. I do deep breathing and I grab curcumin or turmeric, whatever you want to call it. The next is ashwagandha. I know a lot of you out there have heard about this. This is phenomenal for various purposes. Ashwagandha has traditionally been used in Ayurveda as a rejuvenating herb, or as they say, rasayana. So modern research has also explored its role in our stressful lives. It's stress regulation. It takes care of, or it doesn't take care of it, it helps with it. It helps with cortisol balance. Doesn't mean your cortisol won't keep going up. I mean, if you're stressing yourself and lifting boxes and using all your muscles in a very repetitive state, I mean, your cortisol is still going to go up, but it will help to suppress it. And that's important. It also helps for nervous system support. So if you're going through a very nervous time in your life, maybe you started a new job, or maybe you're taking a different way of transport to and from work, or maybe your in-laws are visiting, and you're nervous about that whole scenario, you should take some turmeric or curcumin. It also helps with fatigue reduction. Remember I said if I have brain fog, fatigue reduction, they've proven in 2011, Singh and his colleagues proved that it was very effective for fatigue to reduce it. So some studies also suggest that ashwagandha may support resilience to chronic stress exposure. Ashwagandha is an amazing herb. I love it. Let's move on to ginger. It's another go-to. Ginger has been widely studied for digestive wellness, and it also may support nausea reduction, digestive discomfort, circulation. It helps with circulation and inflammatory balance. So in 2013, Mashadi and his colleagues found that the balance in their system regarding inflammation was helped when taking ginger. Now, I know some of you may have heard of Tulsi. It's also known as holy basil. And that, I know in the Western world, holy basil is the term they usually use here. So it's been investigated for possible adaptogenic and stress supportive effects. In other words, it can adapt to different systems for different types of stresses in your body. It helps with metabolic regulation. It has a potential relationship with these areas in your system. Everyone's different. Remember, every person is different, and even the Ayurvedic physician knows this. So everybody is helped on different ways and different levels. So it's related to metabolic regulation. It can help support your immunity, reduce oxidative stress, and emotional wellness. Cohen 2014 has come to that conclusion. But when I say that, just keep in mind that potential relationship too. This is something that they may try with you, but each person's different. So yoga and meditation are deeply interconnected with Ayurvedic philosophies. And modern scientific literature increases and explores yoga's influence on the autonomic nervous system regulation. Remember, we had that show last week. Take a look at it. It's amazing. I like that show. Flexibility. Yoga also can help with flexibility. And that when you increase your flexibility, it usually hinders you from having like a pulled muscle or something like that, or tendon, because if it's more flexible, it's less likely that it's going to get overstressed. And stress itself, it helps with stress reduction. Breathing efficiency. Remember I said it's one of my go-tos is deep breathing. when I'm under a lot of stress or my body is. And overall quality of life, Woodard in 2011 found that people that did yoga had a better quality of life overall. So that was actually a research study done. That's in the references as well. Mindfulness and meditation practices have also been associated with reduced stress responses and improved emotional regulation. What I mean by that is your emotional regulation, meditation, it teaches you to know when thoughts are that of your own versus when they're not. So, so many things influence us from around us. The agenda settings and news reports and everything else that come at you. It will help you to emotionally regulate more of that information. Sometimes you just put it away, but if you need to deal with it, it can help you with that overall. So breathing practices known as pranayama, we talked about this one last week, and may help stimulate parasympathetic nervous system activity, which is associated with the calming and restorative responses. They've proven this in research studies in 2018. A very important area for all of those things above. Ayurveda versus modern integrative medicine. It's one reason why Ayurveda is attracting renewed interest, is that many modern healthcare discussions are becoming more integrative. I noticed there's a hospital nearby. They have a whole wing of integrative medical practitioners with, they're not Western medicine physicians, they're Ayurvedic physicians or other types of practitioners. It's so nice to see that they're trying to, come together to help the whole person in different ways. So this type of integrative medicine increasingly acknowledges the importance of nutrition as it's viewed globally. Stress reduction, sleep. There's different ideas from all over the globe on sleep. So why not bring them all together to help? And exercise. My thing is yoga. And I also do Qigong, and I love that. And the two together, even with Reiki, using it, the energy going through. Mindfulness can help in many ways to reduce stress. Environmental exposures, though, need to be looked at. Once again, you can't heal somebody if they're in a very stressful environment. They may need to remove themselves from that environment, or, perhaps remove other obstacles that are creating that environment that's unhealthy to live in. And that there leads to prevention. So we also got to consider prevention. So the Ayurvedic physician looks at all levels of a person, even down to the environment. So Ayurveda emphasizes many of these principles from thousands of years ago. However, there is also important differences. Modern evidence-based medicine relies heavily on controlled clinical trials, measurable biological outcomes, pharmacological interventions, and acute medical treatment. Ayurveda, by contrast, traditionally focuses on individualized constitutional balance and long-term lifestyle harmony. Many research today are exploring how traditional wellness systems and modern science may complement one another with integrative health models. And Bodeker and Cronenberg in 2002 really emphasized that, how modern research is exploring these traditional wellness systems. As we explored today, lifestyles and so forth, we are going to continue on here. And now we're going to take another commercial break. And when we come back, we'll examine why Ayurveda continues to gain global attention, how it compares to integrative modern medicine, and important considerations for safety exploring Ayurvedic practices in today's world. Stay with us. You won't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Master of words, powerful player. What life-changing words can Dr. Janet Smith Warfield pull out of her magical toolbox that just might mysteriously open a door you never knew was there? A door to free yourself from fear forever. Transform your rage into right action. Release your guilt. Position you into a life of freedom, purpose, passion, power, and peace. All quite suddenly, unexpectedly, and almost miraculously, with no effort on your part. Join Dr. Janet on Dancing with Words, Dancing with Wisdom, as she and her guests show you how words map our experiences, immersing you in a sound bath that relaxes your muscles, opens your mind, and supports you in co-creating your extraordinary life.
Welcome back. To understand Ayurveda, ancient healing in a modern world, today we've explored how Ayurveda views health through the lens of balance, digestion, lifestyles, stress regulation, and individual wellness. Now, in this final segment, we'll examine why ancient healing systems like Ayurveda are experiencing renewed interest in modern society and how some of these traditional wellness principles intersect with today's conversations about integrative health, prevention of and stress management, and overall well-being. So the modern interest in Ayurveda today is practiced worldwide as complementary wellness approach. Many people are drawn to Ayurveda because of its emphasis on prevention, lifestyle awareness, stress reduction, nutrition, mindfulness, and individualized care. However, it is important to understand something clearly. Ayurveda should not replace qualified medical diagnosis. Emergency medical treatment or evidence-based healthcare interventions are needed sometimes. So instead, if that's not an emergency or whatnot, many individuals explore Ayurveda as part of a broader wellness strategy. It's a wellness strategy, just what it says. Includes perhaps conventional medicine, integrative medicine, nutritional support, mental health care, stress management, and lifestyle modification. So why is the interest in Ayurveda growing? Modern society experiences enormous physiological and psychological stress loads. Research continues to associate chronic stress with inflammation, immune dysregulation, and everything that we had talked about earlier. At the same time, many individuals report feeling disconnected from healthy sleep patterns, natural movement, mindful eating, emotional regulation, and restorative practices. Ayurveda attempts to restore awareness to those foundational areas of healthy daily living routines and balance-oriented practices. The growing popularity of yoga, meditation, breath work, and mindfulness practices, it reflects a broader public interest in nervous system regulation and preventative wellness approaches. Daily rhythms and Ayurvedic lifestyle, another important Ayurvedic principle, involves alignment with natural rhythms. Traditional Ayurvedic philosophy teaches that sleep timing, meal timing, seasonal adaptation, and daily routines all influence overall health and vitality. Modern circadian rhythm research similarly suggests that disruptions in sleep-wake cycles can affect hormones, metabolism, cognitive function, inflammation, and immune health. So this overlap between ancient lifestyle philosophy and modern philosophy and chronobiology is one reason why practitioners and wellness practitioners continue exploring traditional health systems. But the role of the nervous system, Ayurveda also placed tremendous emphasis on calming the nervous system. Ancient practitioners observed that emotional overload and chronic agitation could contribute to physical imbalance. Today, scientific research increasingly explores how chronic sympathetic nervous system activation, often called the fight or flight response, you've heard it many times in my shows, it influences cortisol levels, inflammatory pathways, cardiovascular strain, digestion, and emotional health. Practices commonly associated with Ayurveda, including meditation, breath work, yoga, mindful eating, and restorative sleep, may help support the parasympathetic nervous system activation, the body's restorative rest and digest state, as coined by Garrison and Band in 2018. Rest and digest state. I love that. You know, it just sounds so perfectly termed. Sorry, it just really does. Other important safety considerations. It's also important to approach herbal medicine and alternative wellness systems responsibly. Not all herbal protocols and products are standardized, tested, or appropriate for every individual. Remember, Ayurveda is very individualized. Some herbs may interact with prescription medications, blood pressure medications, anticoagulants. This is very common, by the way, because I'm an herbologist as well, and it concerns me when people are just take this herb. Well, wait a minute, not good. So also will interfere with immune therapy, some of them. Consult a healthcare professional of your own. Self-sustainability, it's your responsibility. Avoid self-diagnosing, see if you can find some health. So modern integrative medicine and Ayurveda historically emphasized many of the same foundational systems and approaches. Keep in mind, if you would like to know more about the doshas, you can put it in the comments. I'll send you, this is the problem, this is what it means, here's some options for you to look at. Until then, I am your host, this Medical Intuitive Insights. I'm Dr. Gloria Warren. There for the grace of God go I. And until next time, choose your alternative complementary health care in a responsible state. See you next time.
This has been Medical Intuitive Insights with host Dr. Gloria Warren. Tune in each week as Gloria shares over 40 years of experience and yearns to provide knowledge derived from intuition and research. Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern.